Welcome to Manny's TV Talk, where we will talk about all of our favorite reality TV shows and news surrounding them. Grab a snack, a drink, and get comfortable because this starts now.
Tiffany coming at me and then switch it around as if I'm the one that's coming at her. I don't know what her issue is, but I hate to have to teach her a lesson, but I will.
Hey guys, welcome. Today we're talking about the new episode of LAMH Huntsville. That's season 6, episode 25. Let's get started. We pick up where we left off last week, the Fletcher family dinner. Miss Nell was feeling some type of way about the kids who seem to go with Chris more than they do to her when they want to say something to them. She's going back and forth with Chris Fletcher Jr., who went to jail, and they're going off on him for not being responsible. Nell's first son intervenes. Nell is also complaining about lending them so much money to all of them and they don't pay it back. She says that they should be grateful that they've been buying them cars and stuff like that. But her saying that thing about the cars just was, it opened a can of worms because Lexi is mad because she didn't get a good car. Lexi seems feisty. They say that this isn't the first time that she refers to this alleged car that she says that she got a car that wasn't that nice compared to the other siblings. Lexi says that she's always gotten treated differently, and she has even gone years without speaking with any of them. And the rest of the family says, well, you weren't speaking with us because you didn't want to. And they say that she has a woe is me attitude. And oh my gosh, this started to get a little bit too personal. Lexi, like I said, definitely opened up a can of worms because she doesn't like that they don't include her. And Nell is starting to fight back and says, well, that's because you insult me, you cuss me out. They barely invited the family to Lexi's wedding, which apparently Lexi blocks them every once in a while. She just has no good relationship with all of her siblings or the parents. And this kind of becomes a Lexi versus everyone dinner. Nell says, don't disrespect me. And they all start cussing at each other back and forth. Lexi cusses them out too. But damn, she gets up and leaves with her husband. Chris goes out there to look for her, and she continues to talk about this car that she didn't get. And then she tells Chris that he wasn't in her life for 28 years, and that's where he says, you were lying way too much now. You were taking this way over the top. Get the F out. And they leave. OMG, you guys, this was crazy. We definitely need to have a spin-off centered around the Fletchers and all the siblings, because that would be something. Look, two things can be true. Maybe Lexi is problematic and rude and self-entitled, but I do think the Fletchers did a lot of mistakes as parents. The next scene is Stormi and Courtney. I really do like them as a couple. They make a great team. Stormi is filling him in on her plans to reunite Tiffany and Keke, but of course she's more on Keke's side. She thinks that Tiffany is too messy, but she does want to fix things with them, and she's going to do it in her house, so that's going to be interesting. She also talks about the conversation with that guy from last episode, her COO for the business, and she's reminiscing on the things that happened. Like we learned last episode, things went really bad. She could have been in the streets. Like, that's how bad the problems were, but they are now in their Canvas 2.0 era, so that's great. I wish they could show more of her business side. I feel like it's so important and inspiring for us to see that. Courtney then says that he hired Junior back. Junior was the cousin who all that drama started, which is kind of like pointless now because Courtney's hiring him again, but they're going to give him a second chance, so that's nice. Next up is Martell. He has found a house to stay in finally, so he's unpacking. It was at night, but the guys were there to help him bring the furniture in. His brother was there as well. He's also going to be having eye surgery soon. So then Martell FaceTimes Chris and he says, I moved out of your house. And Chris is so happy. He says it's about damn time. Martell also is just catching up with him and asks him about Nell, because last time they saw each other, they got into a little bit of a fight over Melody's name change ceremony. So Chris says, well, last time you talked to my wife like that, but it's really not that serious. I think Chris knows that Nell was overreacting, but maybe he just feels a little bit compelled to say something to Martell because he doesn't want to look bad. But they say that they'll try to see and get together soon. Next up is Melody Rogers. She's in her house, and Brittany apparently she's her best friend. They've known each other since college. They're packing some orders, and Melody has a bone to pick. She asks, why didn't Brittany go to the name change ceremony? The girl says that she was in Atlanta for her niece's sweet 16 birthday, but Mel says that she's her best friend. She should have been there because Brittany has been there since the time Melody met Martell, dated him, married him, divorced him, all of that. So Melody says, you should have been there. But the girl is saying, well, you know what? I helped you with a lot of the ideas. I was here in spirit. But that's not good enough for Melody. So the girl says, well, you know what? You should have another one. So Mel says, how about this? What about you help me look for someone to date? And they talk about the ideal man that Melody should have. But I was confused. Wasn't she supposedly dating a man, the one whose arm we saw? But anyway, they're talking about who is going, how, like, she's talking about she want to have an international V. I don't know about that. But the next scene is Nell at her daycare, and Chris goes over. They talk about the family dinner. They continue to say that Lexi is problematic and very materialistic. It's too much for them. Chris Jr. is not answering their phone calls or text messages or anything after the dinner. He's probably mad about the conversation about the money and the dogs. Keke, the niece daughter, also, remember she said that all the siblings didn't really feel comfortable going to Nell to talk about things. They would much rather do it with Chris. So they're talking about that, and Chris says that he thinks that it's because sometimes Nell doesn't listen. She goes from 0 to 100. She's quick to snap and diminish their feelings and not like really try to understand what they're trying to tell her. So of course they're not going to want to talk to her. But Nell starts doing way too much. She says, that's you, that's not me. She says that she's tired of them. She's busy all the time. So the last thing it's on her mind is going to be them. And she's going to stop lending them money. I don't know. I understand. She can't let them like run over her, but at the same time she's their mom. I do think there is some sort of unconditional love that there should be. I'm not saying she doesn't love them, but tolerate them a little bit more maybe. But they are gonna have to fix some things. So that's precisely what Chris suggests. He says we might need to go to counseling, and which the funny thing is they actually are counselors to a lot of people, and her as a daycare owner to a lot of parents. So it's really ironic, isn't it, that you could be counseling people yet have so much disaster at home. That's crazy, but they're going to go to that soon. The last scene of the episode is Keke going over to Stormi's house. Keke shares that she's on methadone right now. She says that she's really liking that. I hope that doesn't become a problem, but she shares that. Stormi also asks how is she doing with Tisha, and Keke pretty much says that the relationship is dead. It's over. Like, that's pretty sad. And then Stormi says that Tiffany is going to be there so they can talk about their differences and resolve things, because she doesn't like that Tiffany was throwing shade at her. So hopefully they can resolve that. And Keke is like saying that Tiffany has been doing way too much. They don't even know each other for her to be doing all this. And then we hear a knock on the door, and Tiffany walks on in with her baby. But that's all we got this episode. We will see what happens with that conversation next episode. Listen, you guys, I feel like the Fletchers have brought more storylines in one episode than this show has in 2 years. I'm not even kidding. But we're gonna definitely see more of them. That's interesting. I also think it's interesting that we haven't seen the Scotts for 2 episodes straight. So pretty interesting. So yeah, you guys, let me know in the comments what you thought about this scene, about this episode. What did you think about the family dinner scene, and just any overall comments? Please let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. You have a great one. Bye.